Welcome, Winnie.
Hi, I'm so
Hey,
nice to see you again, Danielle.
so nice to see you too. So, for everybody watching, Good N is a YouTube series where entrepreneurs and small businesses get to talk to professionals such as Winnie to solve specific problems in their business. So, before Winnie introduces herself, I just have to say that I went and checked out your work. Winnie's a photographer, guys, and her work is amazing. And I
Thanks.
let her go ahead and introduce herself. Go ahead, Winnie.
Hi, my name is Winnie. I'm a photographer based out of New York. Specifically, I create bright and vivid imagery, as you saw on my website, for purpose-driven brands and solopreneurs. So that's kind of a little bit of what I do here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. Like I went on your website and I was checking out your work, and the one thing that I could tell you I really, really love about your photography is I know lighting is everything. Like I know
Lighting is everything.
lighting is everything. I actually did work for a photographer for about 4 years when I lived in New York. And one thing he would always say is, we got to get the lighting right. We got to get the lighting no matter what we did.
Yeah,
It's all about the
it
lighting.
is so key, so key. It makes or breaks an image. You could be in the same spot, but if it's a different lighting, it's like, oh, it's different results, which is cool, but it just sucks when you're trying to create consistent work.
Exactly. The other thing I noticed is like your storytelling in your imagery is like so on point. Like that's one thing I really admire. And I know that's one of my struggles too, is just storytelling through photography, instead of just versus like having a photo, like having images in a photo and it just being like blah. So like putting it together, I think is like really key. And I noticed that in your work too. So can you just talk a little bit about that? Like with your photography and storytelling, like pulling that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first conversation that I have with my clients as we go on a kickoff call or a discovery call, really, so that I could understand what their brand is about. Because as you can tell, I work with a lot of clients from skincare to something maybe in like the wellness industry. So it really just ranges completely. And with that, even if you're in skincare, each company has their own personality, and it's about bringing that to photography. And so with photography and the way that I look at storytelling, there are like a couple aspects to it. The first one is like still photography, which is what we see a lot on Instagram and everything, and our websites is you just want to be able to capture a sense of like movement and how a product's being used. And then the other aspect of like photography that I really love to work on, and I feel like a lot of people know me for, is like stop motion photography, which is basically just like a series of images that you loop together to create a video. That's
Yeah.
the only kind of video I do. But all that, both whether it's still photography or stop motion, it's just a form of motion that I'm trying to capture between both of them to create dynamic photos for my clients. So that's just like the general gist of it. But I would love to kind of like take that idea and
Yeah.
maybe help you with your problem.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So let me tell you what my problem is. So first of all,
Yeah, let's hear about
oh,
you.
me. What about me? I'm Danielle Hodge, and I'm a part of the Good community. And my company is Alma Ocean, which are pool inflatables. And we're basically water accessories, and we're bringing out diversity in the community and in the space of water. And so not only are my inflatables culturally inspired, and with the advertising, we're including more of the Black community in the advertising for water activities, but also it's a space where people, if they don't know how to swim or want to learn more about water activities, they can come to Alma Ocean and get the support they need. And so that's really what Alma Ocean is about. We're not just pool inflatables, like we're actually a community as well. And so I'm launching that, currently crowdfunding right now, launching my product. So as you can imagine, like there's so many images that I need to catch, and not only for my website, but for social and to be constant on social media. And I'm just working with my iPhone.
Yeah,
So
that's probably the hardest too when you're just starting off and you don't necessarily have the budget for photography.
yeah,
And it's hard with like trying to keep up with like Instagram and Facebook, and now there's like TikTok and like all these variations of like what marketing consists of, because I think like social media is like the second way to like pull people in for marketing. And there's just so much pressure to that. So I completely understand. And I feel like the iPhone, we don't give it enough credit that it actually is very powerful. I take all my behind the scenes videos with my iPhone, and it gets the job done. It really does. The hardest is, like you said, it's not about the skills. It's really more about like the storytelling aspect. Like, how do you get messaging across with photos and potentially videos?
Yeah. I think my problem right now is huge problem. Not really. Okay, it is, but it's chilly out, and I'm now, promoting pool inflatables. So, and advertising and finding ways to get creative with doing that. I'm in Florida, so it's not as bad as other places. But I think I need to find ways to get creative with my imagery, whether it's, I've set up, my ring light and my backdrop. But then how do you just story tell with that, with a pool inflatable, like it's, adding accessories maybe to it. I don't know. I'm like stuck, I can't go outside, I can't.
Yeah, you can't, or you can.
I can go outside too, because, like, just really quick, I'll tell you, like for models, sometimes they have to be out in the cold, to get that shot. So I go out in Florida.
In there. Yeah.
Pool shots. So
yeah. Well, when I was first looking over your website, and there are a couple things that really stood out to me, and I think that they're a great way to highlight, and using your phone, and you could be indoors for it too. But usually the best light is natural light. So, and you don't necessarily need models for all your photos. As you can tell, for a lot of my photos, my focus a lot in product photography, and that includes sometimes I don't have the budget, I don't have the capacity, and with COVID constrictions, I just can't bring on a model. That's usually the scenario. So I love the colors. All the colors of your pool inflatables, they're just so eye-catching, and that itself is a story. And I think what you can do is like, even if it's just like a pan, whether it's like a video and you're panning across, or if it's just a close-up using your iPhone. So a huge tip that I tell people about iPhone is when you go on, so when you kind of go on the iPhone portion, you see where it says 1x. Oh, yeah, it's like the opposite. So you click on that, and then, okay, I can't do this backwards. I'm trying. And then it'll zoom in a bit, and it'll say 2x. That's one of the biggest trick that I tell people on iPhones, because it kind of acts like portrait mode. Oh, I have a 10. Mine is older.
All right. I was trying to find that X, the 1X. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, I love that functionality for a lot of people use, because it almost acts like portrait mode. Yeah. And then when you look at professional photography, they have what is called like bokeh, I guess, like when the background's like really blurry and it's really pretty and it looks really high end. And I love telling my clients to like use that 2x function so that it creates like that fake version of it, but it's on your iPhone, and you don't need like a professional photographer with you all the time. And then to get a close-up photo of all the colors and texture of your pool inflatables, I think that's going to be so key, because as maybe I'm scrolling through Instagram and I just see that like pop of color, I'm like, well, it's such a gloomy day in New York, that just brightens up my day. And I'm like, what is
that? Is like, I don't know, that's the simplest yet most amazing advice you could give, because I feel like that is what people are doing, is they're giving you like close up of their products, really close up, and it, like you said, it catches their eye on the timeline.
Yeah. And sometimes also I don't know if there's a story behind each pattern that you have, and I think that's such a great way to like highlight anything that you want to talk about for each texture. Like, for example, even like let's talk about that for a second.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay. The OG leaf float, right? Oh, I never even held it and hugged it like this. This is great. So this is the OG leaf float, and I call it the OG leaf float because it's the original gangsta of Alma Ocean. It's like the first float design that I thought about. I spoke with the designer. Oh my God, I just got makeup on it. Designer, it's just a little concealer. I spoke with the designer and let him know, like, hey, I've got these inflatables. They're not going to be like any other. They're going to be full of culture, and they're going to be full of I don't know, inspiration, and I need diversity. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know, just give me something that says culture. And he was like, okay. And so I told him I really like palm pattern. Like everybody loves that palm leaf pattern. It's really popular, but I was like, but I don't want to be that. Like I want to be a little different. And he's like, okay, I got you. He went away and came back and he sent this to me, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of cool. And he's like, well, just so you know, I Googled leaf patterns in Africa, like some trees in Africa, and just threw them on the
I
floor.
love that.
And I was like, I love it. And I was like, but people need to know that. Like they need to know that, because otherwise it's just leaves on a float, you know? But once they know that they're floating on Africa, you know what I mean?
love that. I love that, even like being floating on Africa too.
Yeah.
But that's that's something you want to highlight too, because I love that story, and I think it just highlights back to like why you did this, right?
Yes.
Because of diversity. And that there aren't many like different patterns out there anyways of pool inflatables. And I love that. And I think that's such a great way to highlight it on like your website and highlighting it on your social media channels. And I think that's so powerful. And I know you also have a like actual like a pool.
Yeah. By the way, I actually have to leave to South America. I have to leave to Guyana next week, and I wanted to get images while I'm in Guyana. So it's rolled up tight in a carry-on already. It's my carry-on. It has to go there because it's very important. So I don't have it, but it's all over social, and we promoted it. So yes, the Kente cloth fabric looking. Yes. Cool.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like the color just stood out to me when I first saw it, and like bring it with you. And I personally think that also you can capture like high impact like water shots too. So, you know, another functionality of the iPhone. I feel like I'm just promoting Apple right now. Like the iPhone.
They knew what they were doing.
I personally use it every day too, because I think part of me shooting with my camera all the time is I just want to take a break. So I don't take it out with me, but I learn how to maximize my iPhone to capture a lot of content I would share with my clients. And one thing is, if you hold the button down, it just takes a million photos.
Yes.
It just
really.
Yeah, like it just like hold the button down, go, and you'll see the number count, and that's how many frames that the camera is taking, which is great for like motion. So what I'm going with that is if you have like a family member that can like step on your pool, splash on your pool, like splash on your pool on the water. You know what I mean? On the water, and you can kind of get like that motion of just like water. I think that itself, and just having like a bit of like pool in the background, and I think that would look so beautiful too, and that would be so impactful.
Like I want to pick up my phone and be like, I'll be right back. Yeah.
What do you think about that too?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Since I've packed up the pool already in my mind, I already know, and I'm just gonna set the scene, like where my cousins live and like where our place is there in Guyana. There's like this, it's surrounded by like this wall that's kind of like the light teal color that's actually almost on this. It's just a simple light teal wall. And I'm just seeing me putting that pool right in front of that light teal wall as a backdrop, and then asking one of my little cousins to play in there and just kind of like hold that button down and be like,
yes. Yeah. I love that. And then also think about, I love how you're setting it up as like a big, as like a really wide frame, you know, take a step back, grab a photo, but then get closer and closer and get like motion, and get some like action, like close up action, whether it's like smiling, laughing. Like I think that's so in tune with who you are. Even though we only met like a couple of times, but like I can tell you're such a vibrant person. And also, but it's so in tune with also of just like everything too. But one thing I also want to talk about as well is also the power of like when to shoot too, because that like I a lot of times when I work with my clients are like, well, you can just shoot on a sunny day, right? That's the best time to shoot. Actually is like the most annoying time to shoot because of shadows. Or maybe like sometimes shadows from a wall, and then next thing you know, your face is covered halfway, or your body is bright one side, but then it's dark on the other. So like a technical trick I always tell people is like shoot in the shade, but it'll get a little chilly, but that's okay. for the photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is you want to shoot in the shade, or you want to shoot towards like sunset kind so that you can get that nice like glow, and then that everyone's like evenly lit, and then no one's like squinting, you don't get like the weird shadows, or I'm sure we've all done this, where we try to take photos with our iPhone and it's in the sun of like you're trying to take a photo of someone, and then there's the iPhone shadow on them.
They're like, even square. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overcast is really good, right? For shooting.
Yes.
It's like the best.
Love overcast. Yes, I love overcast. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's kind of like someone put like a diffuser on the sun. Now I'm using techno terms, but you know what I mean. Like, and then the light is just so soft and it's so beautiful, and I love that.
Yeah, that was one thing I learned for the photographer, from the photographer I worked with, was I would be like, oh no, you want, like, I'd have the reflector ready and be like, let's go on the rooftop. And he'd be like, it's overcast, it's perfect. And I'd be like, all right. And I'd put the reflector down or lightly use it. And that's kind of like how I learned that overcast is like amazing for shooting.
It's amazing for shooting. It really is. Yeah.
The other one I want to talk about is my Rasta unicorn. Yeah, so he is I want to say he's the first Black unicorn, kind of, because normally they're typically just the original unicorn with the awesome rainbow, following behind them. But yeah, so let me get him out. This has been in here for a while. All right, cool. So this is just in the summertime when you have your beverage, you can put it in the Rasta unicorn. But I'm just trying to think of simple, creative ways kind of to shoot him. He's coming along too. And I guess I could kind of have my cousins play with him in the pool and get some cool images like with the water and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, highlighting functionality is also really key as well. Just simply as like putting your beverage inside the cup, like that action, like your hand, like that I really love. Like, yes, hand elements or like human elements. I think that's such a great way to show sizing and also how to use certain things. So I think that's such key. And I can almost visualize the stop motion aspect to it, where you put your camera on like a tripod, you set everything up as you need, and then get someone to put their beverage in their unicorn, and then have your phone, you just keep pressing the button down and you'll just get a series of images, and you can stitch them later and they'll create that like dynamic motion of like, yeah, that looks so good.
My mind is blown, because like, honestly, the way I've been shooting this unicorn in the pool is just like, pushing it across, floating across. But I never thought to actually use the actual hand motion of like what you're doing when you're actually using the cup holder. So you just blew my mind. It's so simple. It's so simple.
Yeah. When in doubt, just think like, okay, maybe I should bring a body, like a person in it, and like do something with it.
I'm gonna find a cousin that has really nice hands. And
then
hands in there. Man, that's awesome. I feel a little silly because like that's something I probably should have known, but you don't think about it because you're a solopreneur and your mind is going crazy, and you're just trying to think of how can I make sure that everything looks good, and you got to talk to professionals like Wini.
And like, especially as a solopreneur, and I completely understand, you're not only thinking about photography, you're thinking about marketing, you're thinking about like manufacturing, production, like design. Like, also that's another thing too, is like photographing behind the scenes of your design too. And I think that's so important to storytelling, and also adds on to highlighting like color and like texture and like close-ups. I think that and people love that.
I love the scenes. I love people to know that it's not easy. I love them to know it's not easy, and that we're doing all that we can, and we're like, as much as you can get advice and input from a lot of things, at the end of the day, you're still by yourself at the end of the day making the decisions. And I'm not even gonna lie,
I feel you on that.
So happy to be a part of Good End because I get all the support I need. So it's really amazing. And yeah, I think I'm gonna have a really good shoot coming up soon. Like
Oh,
I'm
I can't wait to
now.
see. I
I'm
can't
so
wait to see. Will
excited.
you send it to me? I would love.
Most definitely sending
Or
you.
put me on FaceTime and I'll like
I was
guide
gonna
you.
say I might just hit you up on Instagram, like in the video or in the messages, and just like be like, hey, what do you think of this? And then just get some pointers if you don't mind. Like I might do that while I'm in Guyana because I definitely. Oh, what do you think about the slow mo feature? On do you ever use that? The slow mo?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really know how to use it. I feel like I always miss it.
Oh, all right. I'm just gonna keep playing around with gadgets on my iPhone till I
Yeah,
figure.
but I can almost like the water sloshing concept. I feel like that could do so well on slow mo, and even like maybe like in my mind, unicorn like floating past you and getting in slow mo. I don't know. I'm not a video person, but photos.
Photos, you're it. You're it. Oh, all right. Well, I think I'm gonna be okay. And again, if I'm not, I'm gonna be hitting you up on Instagram, like I said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be storytelling like crazy, and I just feel so inspired and uplifted from the information that you've given me.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And I will just, before I end, I just have to let you guys know about Good End and the community. It's an amazing community for entrepreneurs and small business owners who are looking to connect with each other and your ideas and getting support. And there's workshops, and it's completely business focused, but also family. And it's a founder circle, and it's just really amazing. So they're accepting applications right now. The official launch is in January. And so just go to the website and head to good-end.com for more information. And yeah, thank you again, Winnie. I'm so glad.
Thank you. I can't wait to see the photos. Yeah,
You'll be
just
getting some.
post it.
Cool. Thank you.